Yo, what is up? Welcome to NinjaGeek Games. Generally, my dungeon-themed games require a big box, lots of minis and intuitive combat mechanics, but considering Wizards & Co allows you to take on the role of a mage charged with a handful of minions, and you get to collect precious gems, I thought I'd give it a go. Second to that, a few of those involved here also designed the wonderful Euro Golem, and good friend Nick Welford is mentioned in the game's development. The resemblance between Nick and a dungeon goblin is quite uncanny. In Wizards & Co, you take on the role of a wizard tasked with plundering a necromancer's dungeon. The necromancer is long dead, and why they can't resurrect themselves shows they were probably not good at their day job. Now, in typical Ocean's 11 fashion, you need 10 minions to support your heist, and these come in the form of imps, giant spiders, ogres, and Brad Pitt. I'm just kidding, there's no ogres. In this game, you use your small hand of pre-constructed minion cards to delve into dungeon areas, activate special abilities, and then claim gems, artifacts and enchantments, after a light battle of course. Let's take a look. During play, you'll be looking to play up to 2 creature cards from your hand to these dungeon tiles, and the number and type of these tiles is dependent on the number of players in the game. You can only place your creatures in areas adjacent to a gem, so you are limited on where you can go, but you can choose to place them face up or face down unless you play 2 cards. One must be placed face up. But placing creatures face down means other players are not sure of your motives, although you can't use their abilities at this time. In most circumstances, you can play cards into areas that already have creatures, and later in the game you may have claimed some artifact tokens. If you have any, they can be placed on your creatures to give them a boost, like protecting them against other game effects or increasing their strength in battle phase. Each dungeon is also unique because the enchantment tokens provide an ability that all players can make use of. Some add gems to artifacts, increasing their reward, or bend the rules in some way, such as drawing extra cards in later phases. Over time, dungeons start to be filled with creatures from all players, but once a dungeon has all entrances assigned with creature cards, a battle takes place. This is very quick and simple, where all cards are flipped face up, and starting from near the statue area, creatures get to activate their abilities. This may remove cards from the dungeon from any player, even you, preventing them from activating, and any remaining creatures get to take a gem. But it's not over yet. The active player takes the enchantment tile, and all players then add up the strength of their remaining creatures. Those that score the highest also get to claim an artifact that can be used later in the game. The dungeon is then flipped that alters the entrances and available gems, and artifacts and enchantments are populated, meaning the dungeon will now have a new game effect. Once the enchantment stack runs dry, the game ends and victory points are scored. First, any of your cursed gems give you negative points. Then you remove 1 pretty gem for every cursed gem you own, where these are also removed. Any remaining cursed gems give you more negative points. You'll also get hefty VPs from artifacts you've claimed, enchantment tiles and sets of different coloured gems. It's a very simple game with a lot of special abilities and power boosts that can be given to your creatures or generated from the enchantment tiles on the dungeons. You play 1 or 2 cards, draw to hand, perhaps enter battle and claim a load of rewards. For a light, almost filler of a game, I liked it. It's quirky and fun, and with the right creature and ability token, you can do fairly well during the battle phase. Sometimes you'll be forced into placing a creature card at a dungeon entrance adjacent to a cursed gem, and you don't want these. But you or another opponent can use other creature cards in the same dungeon to stunt or eliminate it, which helps. For a small box game, there's a bit of replay value depending on which artifacts and enchantments make their way into the dungeon, but also how you construct your deck. There are 5 creature types, and with each type there are a number of unique monsters. The base game allows decks for all players to be exactly the same, but you can randomise this as long as you all have the same number of creature type in your deck. For example, we all have 1 giant card in our deck, but I might have a Titan and the next player may have Nick Welford, Troll, and each card has a different ability. I like being able to bluff in this game by placing cards face down in the dungeon. Could it be that beefy monster I picked up earlier, or is it a mere imp that can pull its strength? There's a set collection of gems that provide victory points, and these can be enhanced if you literally play your cards right. Having 1 set of the 6 pretty gems gives you 12 VPs, but having 3 or 4 separate gems of different colours also classes as a set and therefore earns VPs. Therefore, you may need to decide on the best dungeon for your next delve. Are you able to claim that last set of 6, or does claiming another gem type result in multiple sets but is easier to do? As well as wanting to collect the high scoring artifacts for VPs, as we'll see, you will also need to consider gem type, and all the creatures' abilities are weird and wonderful enough to help you out in some way. The components are really nice, artwork is pretty good, and the game looks great on the table and flows well. It doesn't have any groundbreaking mechanics, but considering it's small and lightweight, there's something about it that I was impressed with. Changing the dungeon abilities based on the enchantment tokens adds enough variability to make this welcome. The box does say the game is suitable for 14 years plus, but I think this can be reduced for a family game night. This is NinjaGeek Games. Thanks for watching. Cheers.